Pittsburgh Steelers fans, it is time once again for another episode of The Hangover, the Steelers Hangover from BehindTheSteelCurtain.com. My name is Bryan Anthony Davis from Behind the Steel Curtain. Shannon White is with me. So any of you that are getting nervous that Tony Defeo might be here, there he is. There's Tony. What is going on today, my friend?
Well, I'm frustrated with my computer. That's the latest thing that's going on with me. What's going on with you guys?
As far as computer goes, I'm just going to knock on wood right now, and that's the best I can do on this Monday. But it seems like your computer is having a case of the Mondays and that song by Bob Geldof, I Don't Like Mondays. So there you go. Shannon White, what's up with you, my friend?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Just ready to get going.
Getting ready to get going. Fantastic. Is anybody having trouble hearing us out there? Because John Davis is saying that they cannot hear us, but I think we're okay. Let us know if there's a problem with the audio, and we'll do our best to fix it. So Micah's the first one in the house tonight. Micah, hello. How are you? It's good to see you. And we've got Myrna, Jane, and Bert. Aloha from Maui. I always love it because it was cold today in Maryland. Shannon, what was going on in West Virginia today as far as weather?
It was low 60s, so it wasn't too bad today. A little windy, but could still get out and enjoy it a little bit.
Okay, so Tony, you always give the weather report for Pittsburgh on your Friday night show. What's going on there?
It's mid 40s, a little chilly. I was hoping we'd have like some unusually good weather by now, but I guess that was a couple weeks ago.
Absolutely. Yep, that's true. And I mean, we had some part of the weekend where it's like, oh, it's getting close to the 60s, and then it was ugly and it was weird. So that lion has woken up and said, hey, I didn't get my time in the sun, so I am actually my time in the cold, so I'm going to try to kick the lamb out of here. And I think that's what's going on. And I just realized when I was talking to you guys, Tony's in Pennsylvania, I'm in Maryland, Shannon's in West Virginia. I have been residents of all three of those states in my lifetime on this earth, and so we are making up the unholy trinity of states here. So that's who we will be. We're like the hypocycloids of states. So that's what we should do. We should go ahead and get our BTSC Steeler logo, and instead of the hypocycloids, we just go ahead and put the outline of our states. And here's the really cool thing. All three states have very unique outlines. That's true. The shapes of those states are very unique, all three of them. So there you go. There's our little geography lesson as we get going. I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. I hope everybody in BTSC Nation had a very blessed time with family, with friends. I hope if you were enjoying March Madness, that's awesome. If you were enjoying WrestleMania, that's awesome. I enjoyed both, but I also enjoyed something else this weekend, guys. I had an opportunity to rub elbows with a couple of heroes and hypocycloids, one Deontay Johnson and one Najee Harris over the weekend. And Tony, did you happen to see the video that I put on our private Slack channel?
No, I didn't. I was really busy this weekend. What was it was about with those two guys?
So none of you guys read my stuff. None of you guys, Shannon didn't either. My goodness. No, so I solved the mystery. Every time you look for his middle name, this is Najee Harris. When you look for his middle name online, it is Jerome. And Jeff Hartman loves to call him Najee Jerome Harris, which we've known that's not true, but Jeff's still going to go with it anyways. But I got his middle name by asking him. And my daughter took video of me asking him what his middle name was. Now, when I said that, I said, hey, I'm the podcast producer from Behind the Steel Curtain. I want to ask you, and I wanted to go in and explain it, and he just cut me off. And he just said, are you the ones messing up my name. And he didn't say messing, but I'm just going to go ahead and say that. You're the ones messing up my name. I'm like, no, we're not. I'm not messing up your name. And he's like, what's my name then? And I said, well, I think it's pronounced Mazee. I know it's not sure. I didn't even get that out. He goes, no, my first name. What's my first name? What's my first name? And he wasn't mean. He was just having fun with me. And I said, it's Najee. And then he goes, good job. And so then I said, so I got to know the middle name though. He said, it's actually Mose. Pronounced Mose. So I believe it's spelled Mzee, but he goes, it's Najee Mose Harris. And he goes, or you can call me Mo. But I don't care about my I don't care about my middle name. It's just my first name. I just want people to get my first name right. And I'm like, hey, we got it right here. Then I say, and I threw my card down, and he picked it up and looked at it. I said, if you want to be on our show, let me know. So we will see what happens. I'm not holding my breath, but great guy. It was lots of fun to talk to this guy. It was great to talk to Deontay Johnson too. Just a really pleasurable person as well. I really enjoyed it. Fist bumped my nephew. Was really glad to see him. Really gracious. I'll have to show you guys the pictures when I get a chance. But so that was a fun day, and we went to the signing in Chantilly, Virginia that they do every spring, and there's always some Steelers there. So I've had a chance over the years to meet a lot of guys. My son had a chance to hang out with Ben Roethlisberger at one of those signings years ago. So they're just a lot of fun. But so, gentlemen, that mystery is solved, and I'm not going to be hanging out at Applebee's with them, but maybe one day we can. So I'm hoping. So how about your weekend? Who'd you meet this weekend, Tony?
Nobody in particular. Some good bowlers, some fun bowlers. That's about it.
Is it your dream? Now, Shannon, I don't know how well you know Tony as far as a bowler, but he is a very good bowler.
Oh, yeah.
And he skipped the Academy Awards last week to go bowling. And so Tony was actually going to be a seat filler at the Kodak Theater in Los Angeles, but he's like, no, boys, I've got bowling. So
I bowl during the Super Bowl sometimes.
Yeah, he is a fantastic bowler too. Is it your dream to bowl with Jerome Bettis?
Yeah, I mean, he would put me to shame because he's had so many 300s. But then again, my own team puts me to shame because you're all better than me. So it wouldn't be that much of a leap.
So let me ask you this: Jerome Bettis or Ernie McCracken?
Jerome Bettis.
Okay. Shannon White gets the kingpin reference there. But no, I don't know much about how bowling is scored. Now, do you you say your team puts you to shame. Does that mean that you help your team because you have a higher handicap though? Because there's a handicap in bowling like golf, right?
Right. Yeah. But we're all collectively really good. So we don't really get the benefit from the handicap. So we're usually giving away a lot of pins.
Does your team win the title every year?
We won it once. We won it in the fall. So that was pretty cool.
That's why, and Monday nights are my trivia nights, and we've won titles before. We've come really close, and we kind of win a lot. So it's always good to be a part of a team. I'd rather be a better bowler because I'm not a great bowler. And I did have one instance when I was bowling once. This was right after the Steelers won the Super Bowl, and somebody gave me this. It wasn't a terrible towel, but somebody gave me this towel to pin to the back of my jeans because I was bowling and my pants ripped all the way. And that was back in my alfresco days when I wasn't quite wearing. I was going commando. Let's just put it that way. And I really needed some help. So that was probably one of my most embarrassing moments bowling. There you go. You cannot erase that from your retinas, and you'll never get that 20 seconds back from your life. So, Shannon, I'm going to move on, and we're not going to talk about your bowling prowess because we're going to talk about the Steelers and the next big thing. So, Steel Curtain says probably the BJ Finney pants. I've got to jump in. I've got to say this. I haven't told anybody this. So I had an opportunity to replace the Finney pants yesterday at this show because this is where I bought where I was yesterday was where I bought the Finney pants, and the Steelers Pro Store is there. So they actually have game worn jerseys, and you can tell because they crinkle up here, and they have the game worn pants, and that's where I bought them. And I ended up only paying $20 for the pants because they were $40, and this was like 3 years ago. They were $40. I paid $20 for my Finney pants, and they were a size 38. So this time around, I'm going if I can get that same deal, and they were like 50% off. So $20, not a bad deal. Perfect size 48. I'm like down to a 46 now, but a size 48. They were Zach Banner's game worn pants, but they were $150 and they were 25% off. And I'm like, nope, I can't do it. So I cannot do that. So I was not able to replace the the pants yesterday, but I was really trying. Shannon, what size pants do you wear, if you don't mind me asking?
I think 44 right now.
Tony, what size pants do you wear?
38.
I will give you my Finney pants when I replace
I'm ashamed that he has the same size waist as me.
I asked Zach Banner about that too. I said that to Zach Banner. I'm like, what's the deal? I bought Finney's pants, and he was laughing about this. This is when we had the interview 2 years ago. And Michael Beck and I were talking to him. He's like, Finney has like little spindly legs. And he's just big up top because he's like a 300-pounder. And I thought I was fine. I didn't even look at the size pants when I bought them because this man's 300 pounds. I should be able to fit into his pants. Now I'm thinking that, okay, he's a lot taller than me, but I mean, Finney's like only about 6 foot, I think, right?
Yeah, he's not that big.
Tall.
No,
and I'm 5'8", 5'9". I figured that shouldn't give away too much, but no. Finney's got a thin waist for an NFL lineman. That's amazing. 38, and I bought the wrong pants. So it's my goal. So Shanna, I'm gonna give the pants to Tony when I can finally replace them with another pair. If you do want to, I will let everybody know out there that if you do want to donate to the Bad New Pants Fund, my new Steeler pants, to get my Banner pants, I would be glad to take your super chats, and I would be glad to take your donations here at BTSC. There you go. I'm gonna bring this question up here to get Shannon back in the game here. Lakuda's a big fan, it looks like. Shannon, you did not release an article today. When is your next due?
Hopefully tomorrow. It's in there, but whenever they decide to, post it. But I think it'll be tomorrow.
And that's on a that's on a receiver, right? Alec
it's on Alex Pierre.
Okay.
I mean, Alex Pierce. He's the wide receiver from Cincinnati.
Okay. Very good. That's really cool. I am going to answer Bo's question. I do have a Harris jersey. I actually have both Harris jerseys. I have a Franco and a Najee. So, but I went a little jersey crazy that 1 year. So I've got a lot of them. Let's talk about the next big thing in Pittsburgh. Now, when I'm talking about the next big thing, I'm talking about the NFL's next big thing. And gentlemen, would you feel that it would be safe to say that TJ Watt, after last year, not just becoming the defensive player of the year, but becoming the leader all time along with Michael Strahan with 22.5 sacks in a season and not playing in that extra game, not playing 17 games, playing less than 17 games. Do you think he is a big thing in the NFL right now?
Absolutely. He's the current big thing.
He is the current big thing. Shannon White, do you believe that he's the current big thing? There could be more than one big thing.
Yeah, well, he's the best edge player in the NFL at the moment, and reigning defensive player of the year. I don't think he gets much bigger than that.
Well, let me ask you about this, and I'm going off a little sidebar here, but when I ask you about, it took him so long to break through. There were 2 other years that we thought he was going to win Defensive Player of the Year, and you had a guy like Aaron Donald that just monopolized it. I mean, he owned it. Well deserved. I do not have a problem with that. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is it TJ's time to dominate at that position?
Yeah, I think that the difference in what happened in the past when he lost out on the Defensive Player of the Year awards was because that he had great statistics. He was impactful, all game ever, the whole season, but he didn't make enough splash plays, which I think a lot of times, late in the game winning plays. Last year, he took it to that next level. And I think that's what helped him get those votes to win Defensive Player of the Year.
So when I'm talking about next big thing, gentlemen, I am talking about guys that they come in and it doesn't have to be immediate, but they've arrived, they're there, and they're the ones everybody's talking about. It is very safe to say that Patrick Mahomes was a next big thing. Lamar Jackson was a next big thing. For a cup of coffee, Robert Griffin III was the next big thing. That injury knocked him out of it. There are so many more. There are next big things. And I'm thinking that the Steelers have the potential to have next big things. The Steelers have had next big things. Troy Polamalu was definitely a next big thing, and so was Big Ben Roethlisberger when they came aboard. Mm-hmm. Who on the Pittsburgh Steelers right now could be the next big thing? And then I'm not talking about just for the team. I'm talking in the entire league. Or is he not on the roster? Or is he coming to the roster? Tony, I'm going to start with you.
Actually, I think it's a guy who's been here for a few years, and I think it's Minkah Fitzpatrick. He's already the best safety in the NFL, or free safety anyway, and I just think he's still so young. He's just so young, and I don't think he's reached his prime yet. I think before he's said and done, he's going to be, in Troy Polamalu, or since he's a free safety, Ed Reed territory, where he's going to be that guy that's, if he doesn't win the award, he's certainly in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year more than once. So I think he's the next big thing for the Steelers. Because he's been here for 3 years. I think people are already starting to take him for granted. That's how good of a player he is. But I don't think he's really hit his stride yet.
But you're thinking NFL, though. I'm talking NFL.
Yeah, NFL, yeah. Like the Defensive Player of the Year kind of level of a play, like where he's a household name all over the country, just like TJ Watt is right now, and Aaron Donald and those kind of guys.
Okay, I want to bring in my buddy here, Reginald Rivers. Lamar Jackson ain't that good. He can't throw. I get that. I will agree that I don't think he is a thrower, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Lamar when we talk about some other players that are coming up. But you got to say that Reggie, that Lamar Jackson was definitely a next big thing when he came up, because they were winning games. He was getting in the playoffs. He was an MVP, and he did everything to earn it. I mean, it doesn't mean that when I say next big thing, I'm even talking about flavor of the month. Sometimes your next big thing, like RG3, doesn't last. But what I'm saying is Lamar Jackson, he was on the cover of Madden right away. He was MVP in his second year. He was a big deal, and he helped revolutionize things a little bit more, because we started looking for that Lamar Jackson again. A lot of teams started looking for that Lamar Jackson clone again. And that's what we're kind of doing. And then when we're looking at this draft, we're looking at a guy like Malik Willis, mm-hmm. who is a better thrower. And we're going to talk about Malik a little bit too. Shannon. So let's go ahead and who is your idea of a next big thing in the NFL donning black and gold?
Well, I'm considering it as top 3 at their position would be the next big thing for the Steelers. And you already have Watt, and you have Hayward. And again, I agree with Tony. Fitzpatrick is in that group as well. So the next guy that I think has that potential would be Najee Harris. If he gets a good offensive line in front of him with his complete game, running, receiving out of the backfield, I think he would easily be in one of the top 3 running backs if he gets some more support and help.
Let me ask you a question about that, Shannon, because he is my guy too. That's the guy that I'm saying is going to be the next big thing. I think the answer to the title of our show is yes, he is on the roster and he is Najee Harris. I have no problem with Minkah Fitzpatrick coming from Tony. I agree. But when you're looking league wide, I think that with the way running backs are going right now in the NFL, there are not many flag bearers from teams that are running backs. You have Derrick Henry, and I think you have Najee Harris right now. It looked like Alvin Kamara was going to be that guy, but it just seems like it's these 2 guys that I'm probably, we could throw some stuff, guys, on the comment board. Please do, because I'm sure I'm missing some guys.
Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, absolutely. Taylor is definitely going to be one of them. And when you look at those 3 guys, that's a really good example of they have adequate quarterbacks. They have good quarterbacks. They don't have great quarterbacks. The Chiefs, the Colts don't have a great quarterback. They've got a guy now that could get it done. They had a guy in Wentz that could get it done. They had a guy in Rivers that could kind of get it done. All of them, but you're not knocking the door down to say that these guys are great. Tannehill, same thing. We're kind of expecting Mitchell Trubisky to be that same guy, and that works if you've got a great running back. But my question to Shannon brought up a very good thing. Ryan O'Toole brought up a very good thing. If the line doesn't still suck, could he get by, and I'm talking Najee, with an adequate line?
Last year was not, like you said, was not even adequate. It was towards the bottom of the league, if not the worst. If they can have average, is what I was hoping for last year. If they could just have average offensive line that would allow them to, with the mobility of the quarterback and be able to do rollouts and play actions and stuff like that to fully implement Canada's offense, then I think that will assist Harris. The last year was like the lowest number of 1,000-yard rushers that I can remember in a good while. One reason, Nick Chubb is excellent. He's a great running back, but he dealt with injury a lot. Again, Derrick Henry, he was injured some. Jonathan Taylor, Mixon for the Bengals, he hit 1,000, but they just wasn't very many 1,000-yard rushers. So it's the running back position with the rule changes has been devalued, whereas wide receivers, as we've seen this offseason, their salaries and their value is sky high. So therefore, anybody who can run the ball effectively, like the Titans and the Ravens and stuff, they have a huge advantage because defenses are built to stop those explosive passing games now.
Very good, and I do appreciate that. They are definitely in the conversation when you talk about the offensive line of moving on up and getting better. When I say the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line, so I'm getting really excited about what they can do and who they're bringing in. But I really think that Najee did something last year, and I even talked about this in season. What impressed me the most about Najee Harris is he took a -3 and made it a +1 a lot last year. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I know he led in carries, the entire league. They're looking, Mike Tomlin likes that bell cow, and I know that scares people but you always have the threat of running the wheels off of the guy. But I think at 6'2", I think this guy is built like a running back of the 70s and 80s that could carry a team. And that's kind of how they're building this team. And they're building it around Najee Harris. And I think he could be the poster boy for running backs in the NFL and not just the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm really excited for him. Our good friend Tate Boys. Yes, Kevin Tate. And if you're not checking out his show on Sundays and also on the podcast network, you're missing out. Tate Boys gives us $1.99. Muth on his way to being a top 5 tight end. Britsburg Owen, who has shown up on my show, Bad Language, also on Sundays the last couple of weeks. He agrees. Next big thing will be Pat Freiermuth. He will be better than Travis Kelce and Gronk. Do you consider him a top 3 guy? Because one guy we're missing in there, I'm still he's injured a lot, but George Kittle, you can't keep him out of the conversation because when he's healthy, he's awesome. Tony Muth, what do you think?
Oh, the potential's certainly there. I mean, you see it. He has the athleticism. He has the toughness. He has the attitude. You know, he has great hands. He has the ability to catch the ball in the red zone. The ability's there, and that brings me back to the point about, you know, people still harping on, you know, their first 2 picks last year. I mean, you brought in Harris and you brought in Freiermuth, and you know, they weren't offensive linemen, but you know, like we've said many times, you can't do that all at once. Sometimes you have to. I think Dave wrote an article about that on Monday. Sometimes you have to sacrifice other positions to improve other positions. So, you know, to me, you have players like Harris and Freiermuth are already in the fold, and if you can improve that line, I mean, these guys are going to be. They have the potential to be. You know, Harris has the potential to be up there with Derrick Henry and Taylor and those guys. And of course, Freiermuth has, you know, people already saying he could be up there with Kelce and those guys. So I'm very excited about both of those players.
All right, let me ask you a question here. Dwayne Braxton chimes in with Nick Chubb is the guy. And you know what? I told you I was going to leave a guy out. Yes, I am putting Nick Chubb on that list of great running backs. I think Najee Harris has the opportunity and has the potential. I know the P word, that's a dirty word, potential sometimes, but I think he can top them all. But I love everything about Nick Chubb as well. The Steelers, for some reason, have matched up well against Nick Chubb over the past couple of years. They have not completely destroyed him. I know he's had some runs against him, but nothing that's really killed this team. But Nick Chubb, to me, is great as well. So we've talked about 2 guys so far in Nick Chubb and Lamar Jackson. I don't know if Nick Chubb was ever the next big thing, but as far as running backs, he was pretty good. But they were drafted in 2018, and drafted ahead of him was a guy that is finally getting some respect from Steeler fans, Terrell Edmonds. But let me ask you this. You have an opportunity to go back in time and take a mulligan and do a do-over, and you decide not to go with Terrell Edmonds, and I'm going to give you 3 names. They're all different positions, but 3 guys that you can replace that pick with. They would be these 3. Lamar Jackson, Nick Chubb, or Jesse Bates, the safety from Cincinnati. Shannon?
Oh, for me, it'd be Nick Chubb's definitely. They wouldn't be having the running back issues they had, you know, with Bell being gone. It would have transitioned well. I know we had Connor, but even if, you know, you'd have a 2-headed monster there if you'd have had Chubb. But again, would he have been as good with the Steelers because their offensive line was so bad? So, but yeah, of those 3, I would say Chubb.
Tony?
Oh, I'd go with the quarterback, Lamar. I mean, you can say what you want about his passing and things like that, but he's a weapon. I mean, he's a former MVP. They tailored their entire team around him. They built their entire team around him, which was a smart move. The Ravens, say what you want about them, they're a great organization, just like the Steelers are. So I would like to think that the Steelers would do everything that they could to build their offense around Lamar Jackson, just like the Ravens did. So it would have to be him because it's hard to find that guy. And we know he might not be, maybe he's not going to go to the Hall of Fame, but he's a proven guy as far as at least what he can do. And he's the Ravens' identity now. So, he's the reason why they're contenders. He's the sole reason, I think. They have a good team, but he's the sole reason why they're always so highly thought of every preseason. So I would have to go with that quarterback because we know he's a proven commodity in the NFL today.
That's why in 2018 he was a next big thing, because he has made it so everybody is trying to find that Lamar Jackson type player. Now they're looking for Lamar Jackson with an arm. And Tate Boys,
right.
Again, another great comparison here. My comp for Malik Willis is Steve McNair 2.0. I also think Najee will ascend to top 3 running back next year on par with JT and King Henry. But when you look at, nobody's going to not take a Steve McNair, right?
No, believe me. We knew all, like we had enough years of experience with Steve McNair to know that he was a great quarterback.
Yeah. So, oh my gosh, he destroyed the Steelers over and over and over again. And, they, luckily for the Houston Oilers, or the Steelers would have a losing record against that franchise, because when you look at the Steelers versus the Titans, they're probably about 2 down. They're probably 2 down head to head, but because of the Oilers and that remaining the same franchise, they're ahead of them. So that's something I always like to bring up. They're still there, but they had trouble with the Titans and the even the Tennessee Oilers, because you got to remember Steve McNair played for the Houston Oilers, the Tennessee Oilers, and the Tennessee Titans. Then he played for the Baltimore Ravens. I saw way too much of Steve McNair. Now I'd love to be seeing him now. What a tragedy that was that we lost Steve McNair, but man, what an amazing quarterback out of Alcorn State, 1994 draft pick. Gosh, that guy was phenomenal. So actually, I'm sorry, 1995 draft pick. I apologize. I just ran that off the top of my head. But let's talk about Malik Willis now. Steelers would love to make him the guy if they can get him. Something happened today, and it just happened about less than an hour ago. Actually, a little bit more than an hour ago, but right before we going on. So I did not get to break into this too well. Gentlemen, what do you know about the trade between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New Orleans Saints? They were draft pick trades, but I was reading it fast. Well, I was reading it at a red light, so I didn't get a chance to delve into it. And then I had to get ready for the show. What do you know about this trade? Tony, Shannon, do you know any of the details on it?
If I remember correctly from reading it on Twitter, the Saints get the Eagles pick it. They move it from 18 to 16, and then the Saints also get the 19th pick, I think. And then the Eagles get a bunch of other draft picks,
including a number 1 next year.
Yeah, so I think that was a pick, and I think what that says is that the Saints are in play for a quarterback now, because that's why they picked up that extra first round pick so they can get a quarterback.
Brilliant trade by the Eagles. I'll tell you why. Here, I have it in front of me, according to Adam Schefter. Eagles are sending pick number 16, number 19, number 194 in the 6th round to the Saints in exchange for pick number 18, number 101 in the 3rd round, number 237 in the 7th round, and a 2023 first round pick and a 2024 2nd round pick.
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh. If you're the Eagles, you just scored, and you have 2 number 1 picks at 15 and 18. The Saints now are at 16 and 19. The Saints are going to take a quarterback. Okay. Let me rephrase that, because I don't want to speak in absolutes, but you gotta be pretty sure your gut's telling you that they're going to go ahead and do this. That's what they're looking doing. They need a quarterback. That means that Malik Willis is not likely to fall to the Steelers. at number 20. They're going to have to move if they want this guy bad enough. Tony, you're shaking your head, so it sounds like you're agreeing with me.
Well, I knew this. I shouldn't say I knew this because like it's an absolute, but I kind of felt this way a couple months ago when Willis first came on the radar, and he showed off that arm and that athleticism and him along with Pickett and all that whole class. I mean, you can say what you want about the strength of the class as a whole, but these guys get overdrafted every year, or at least they get projected higher than maybe they would have if they were playing a different position. And you got the Saints, you got all these other teams that are in the market for a quarterback now, including the Colts, even though they have Matt Ryan. So yeah, they would have to make a major move now to move up and get Willis, and maybe even Pickett at this point.
Well, amazing. I don't want to lose this, and I can't find it. But I'm going to go ahead and read it from memory because I don't want to lose a $5. I almost said $5 foot long. I'm hungry. You have it.
Right
it's from Snowman. Tony, go ahead and answer. I'll let you read it. Go ahead and answer that one.
Tony, and thank you for the $5, Snowman. Robin Masters, our resident. If you have a choice, who would you rather bowl with, Jerome Bettis or Earl Anthony? Well, I mean, I like bowling. I don't like watching bowling. I mean, I couldn't pick Earl Anthony out of a lineup, but I do love the Steelers. So bowling and the Steelers, bowling and a Hall of Fame legend, in the same night, it would definitely have to be Jerome the Bus Bettis. For no doubt, all the stories, I mean, it would be, and I'm at my most social and most charming when I bowl. That's how I talk to the ladies and everything. So I wouldn't be afraid. I'm sometimes afraid to do podcasts with Steeler players and interview. I wouldn't be afraid to interview Jerome while bowling. I would just be casual. So your best memory, this and what happened with the Rams, all that stuff. It would be great.
So you're the Fonzie of the bowling alley, right? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I used to be, but now I'm approaching 50. Not so much anymore. I'm more like the Ralph Malph.
Ladies, if you want a good time, you don't have to look on the restroom wall. You can find Tony here at BTSC and your local bowling alley in Crafton. There you go. You bowl in Crafton?
Lawrenceville.
Lawrenceville. Go give them a plug. Go ahead.
It's Arsenal Lanes in Lawrenceville.
There you go. You can find Tony there Sunday nights. Go ahead, bowl. Good snack bar. Bowling alleys have great snack bars.
Well, they have a good bar. They have a great bar in the back, yeah.
But what about the snack bar, though? Do they have a good snack bar?
Yeah, they have a decent snack bar. I mean, I really don't. I just buy beer. I really don't look at the snacks.
It's like, just get in the beer.
Right. Yeah.
I'm good. Myrna, Jane, and Bert are asking a question here to Shannon. You could answer this if you wish. You don't have to.
51.
So Shannon is the outer statesman here at 51. I'm Jan Brady. I'm the middle. I'm at 50. And Tony is right behind at 49. Ron Chess bowls.
Really?
At Arsenal.
Oh, cool.
Guys,
cool. Hopefully I don't make you mad with any of my articles. Jeez.
Ron Chess has been a great friend of the show. So I don't think so. So
I'll have to look for you there.
So yeah, go ahead. And Myrna, Jane, and Bert. Wow, I turned 50 in September. So there we go. As 1971, 1972. There were some good times. I'm a 71er. What are you, 69 or 70, Shannon White?
70.
1970. So we're all born in the 70s, the decade of polyester. So we talk about that trade with Malik Willis. I just don't think that's going to happen. But the question is, say Malik Willis somehow ends up in black and gold. And if he does, what happens there? Is he the NFL's next big thing is the question. Doesn't matter where he ends up. He's probably going to end up in black and gold, but the different kind of black and gold, which is in New Orleans.
Personally, I like Desmond Ridder and Matt Corral more than I like Willis. Willis is an incredible athlete. He's a fine young man. I think he's going to take a little while to develop and be ready. If he goes to the right place and is utilized correctly, he could be a star. But he also could be a bust if he goes to the wrong place with the wrong supporting cast, and you ask him to do things that doesn't going to fit his skill set. So I'm hoping that teams will be enamored with him and Pickett and, Sam Howell. Some people saying that the Saints are really interested in Sam Howell. So I hope that's how it falls. And then the Steelers could choose between Ritter and Matt Corral.
Very interesting. Now, do you think that Ritter and Corral, Tony, are first-round draft picks, or they should be, or they're more second-round talent that are being mocked up to the first right now?
I think, they're probably maybe early second round picks, late first round, but because there's such a need for quarterbacks, I think Carson Wentz and Jared Goff were overdrafted. They weren't going to go one and they shouldn't have been the first and second players picked in 2016. It was just the teams traded up to get them because they needed quarterbacks. But I think, just because I think they're early second and late first doesn't mean they can't be great quarterbacks in the NFL. And I think one of those guys, or maybe both of them, are going to be there at 20. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do if one of the, because I don't think there's any way Willis and Pickett are going to be there at 20. They're not even going to be. They're going to be long gone. They're going to be hugging the commissioner, like Tomlin said about Jordan Davis. So it's going to be interesting to see if they draft one. I would love a shot at Willis. So he intrigues me.
Wow. So there you go. I mean, with Shannon saying that I don't know how, but gosh, I can't believe that he is considered a first rounder right now, but he could be a treasure of the Saints. So that's really interesting. I was not aware of that. I'm glad you told me. Richland Lane's bad, says my good friend Knapp, 1963. One of my buddies there. He had a chance to meet Knapp at Heinz Field. Yeah, I spent a lot of time at Richland Lane's. I will tell you that. Not a good bowler, but I was there just flirt with girls. The Super Bowl in Windber, I was. Now it's a auto dealership. But I was at the Super Bowl a lot too. The only time I was going to a Super Bowl. And funny thing, I was at the Super Bowl when Tim Wakefield made his Pirates debut in 1992. I would never forget that. I was trying to listen to it because I knew the knuckleballer was making his debut. So I was really excited. So we are going to wrap up this show with one more question. Of all the guys that have been mocked to the Steelers, let's keep Willis out of it. Let's keep, since we've already talked about Willis, but all the guys that have been mocked to the Steelers, which one do you have just even an inkling that they could be the next big thing in the National Football League and wearing black and gold? Shannon, I start with you.
You mean guys who have been mocked to them?
Yes.
Or rumored? In the first round, I don't think Jordan Davis will fall that far. So I'm going to say White, the other defensive lineman
from Georgia,
I think would be a great replacement for Stephon Tuitt and insurance in case he doesn't feel motivated and come back this year. But I think White could be on the same line with Hayward. I think he could be dominant. So I think he could be a big thing.
And you think that he could be that big in the entire league?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's really good. Tony, what about you?
Oh, I agree with Shannon. I don't think Jordan Davis is going to be there, but if he is, and they somehow get him, or he's going to be I think he has a chance to be a dominant player because he's just such an athletic freak of nature. And we see how these guys are now. I mean, they're 300 pounds and they have no fat and they run a 4.8 40. And I think he could be that guy. People think, oh, he's a 2-down player. Well, you don't know what he's going to. That's like, again, talking in absolutes about these draft picks. You don't know what he could be Aaron Donald for all we know. So I think Jordan Davis has a great chance to be the next big thing as a defensive player, and I would love him to fall at 20. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be so fantastic.
Like I just said, somebody is going to be stuck in the green room. Somebody is going to be hugless when the Steelers are drafting at 20. I think it could be a guy like Jordan Davis. I really do. So that's a guy that I would look at as well. Got to tell you, check out BTSC for just updates on this, updates on everything. So many great shows. Oh my gosh, we have so many great shows. And I'm going to break down the fourth wall a little bit here. And one of the reasons I'm going to go ahead and do that is because on our Slack channel right now, these guys are talking about Kennywood. And I can't talk about Kennywood right now because I'm doing a show. But if you're talking about our guys that could just talk about anything and make it interesting, we've got guys like Dave Schofield, and we've got guys like Kyle Kreis and Greg Benovit from What Ian's Talking About. And we've got so many people that throw in so much fun stuff. And I've got to bring up Kyle Kreis because this is the kind of stuff you hear when you're on his show. Was never tall enough for the laser loop. Log jammer for life. But a question, did anyone use the saying, Kennywood's open if your fly was down? I have heard that before. I've heard Kennywood's open. I didn't know what it meant. Shannon, have you ever heard that? I know Tony's saying yes.
No. I've been to Kennywood, but I've never heard that.
But my gosh, I got to tell my wife that one because my Kennywood was just open an hour ago before I took her to the doctor. And she goes, your fly's always down. I'm like, well,
okay.
I mean, it's just always down. I mean, but they're always when I put new pants on, when I put pants on. So there you go. We got to get out of here. I got to bring up our girl though here. Kathy Ford. She's just put black and gold hearts, and there's a blue heart there. And what's that blue heart? Where's Kathy from? Come on, tell me what state. No, she's from Kansas. Kansas Kathy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I probably offended her.
Go Jayhawks. I've always liked Kansas. Yes?
Go Tar Heels.
Oh. Hey, I remember
like fighting words.
Danny and the Miracles back in 1988 with Larry Brown. So, Kathy, I've got your back. I've got the Jayhawks back. Tony, I don't think Tony cares. And Shannon, Shannon, he doesn't have your back. So, see who your favorite BTSCer is.
Kansas stomps West Virginia's behind in basketball all the time.
Oh,
I cannot root for Kansas. So, and I do like North Carolina. And so let's go Tar Heels.
Well, I mean,
all right.
My philosophy every time I fill out a bracket is always you can never go wrong with Kansas. So, I could pick them to win every year, and I'm pretty good like 10% of the time.
And I like that Kansas font too. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Plus, Wilt Chamberlain went there, and guess what? I'm kind of like the Wilt Chamberlain of BTSC.
100 points.
No, I'm not.
In what way?
I can't even do that. Let me bring up. Yeah, I'm a male. That's probably it. I'm a dude, and that's the only thing that I can be compared to. Wilt Chamberlain. I got to bring up Knapp 1963. He's a fantastic guitarist. Man, we can get an all-star band between Jerry Cherry and Knapp and all these people that musicians. And I don't know if you know this, fantastic classically trained singer is one Jeff Hartman as well. We can have a fantastic band if we put them together. FYI, if there's any blues fans in the Pittsburgh area, I am playing Wednesday night at the Pittsburgh Cigar Alliance, Heron Avenue, no cover, BYOB. So Tony, go check it out.
Yeah, that's I kind of grew up over that way.
There you go. So that would be tons of fun. All right, we got to get on out of here. You've got to do 3 things for us. First of all, I'm going to say 1, be safe. 2, be true to yourself. Yeah, be you. Use the only you I want to be around. Don't be a you that someone else is. Be you. And 3, always be behind the steel curtain. And I got to tell you, for Shannon White, for Tony Defeo, WrestleMania was yesterday. It was awesome.
Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee. By the way, Pat McAfee.
Off the top rope, baby.
Pat McAfee was incredible. Pittsburgh's own Pat McAfee from Plum. He pulled a Rock yesterday. He did commentary while he was beating the guy's butt. He put the headphones on and did commentary. I love the only bad thing about Pat McAfee is he was never a Steeler. He would have been one of the greatest Steelers of all time.
But he was a Mountaineer.
He was. I had season tickets back in the day when he'd kick a field goal and they put SpongeBob on the screen going, "Yo, Patrick." I mean, that's what they do. I mean, he was a field goal kicker, and Pat McAfee was awesome. He fought twice yesterday. He ended up fighting Vince McMahon so he had 2 matches in a row. So awesome stuff. But Pat McAfee, hey, that's talking football. I loved it. If you get a chance to check out The More You Know this week, I've got, since it was WrestleMania weekend, I have all Steeler WrestleMania wrestling connections on there too. That was a lot of fun. So Tony, for Shannon, my name is Bryan Anthony Davis. My name is Bad. And just when you think you've got all the answers, to quote that great Rowdy Roddy Piper, who was in the main event of WrestleMania 1, Tonester.
We keep changing the questions.
Shannon White.
Woo!
All right, and Stone Cold Stunner for McAfee, and he still was drinking a beer while he was laying on the ground. You got to love that. We will see you all later. Bad out. I love you. These guys do too. Mark Tobin says, Minka getting paid.